Today on StampTV, I'm going to show you a fun little square card featuring the new Journey of the Heart StampTV kit. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to make this card project. First, you're going to need some ink, and I'm using the Gina Designs grass green ink, and I'm using some Memento Tuxedo black ink. Then you're going to need some markers, and I'm going to use some Copic markers for this. I'm going to use the R27, which is the cadmium red, E13, which is light suntan, and E35, which is chamois. Then you're going to need some stamps, and these are stamps from the new Journey of the Heart StampTV kit, and I am using the ones from the Party On stamp set. Okay, and then you're also going to need some brads, and I'm using some of the brushed copper brads that come in the new kit. Along with, I have a Tim Holtz craft pick, and I have a little piece of a mouse pad that I cut, and I use that to puncture the holes in my projects without damaging the surface of my work table. You're also going to need some cardstock, and I'm using the Gina Designs white cardstock. This is the layering weight, along with some of our dark chocolate cardstock. Then I'm also using some of the patterned paper. So I have a little bit of the patterned paper from the new Journey of the Heart StampTV kit. And you can also get this paper separately. It's a 6x6 patterned paper pack called Journey of the Heart. So we're going to use just a little bit of that. So to begin, I'm going to grab two little squares here. And these measure 1 3/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. So they are squares. And I'm going to stamp two of the images onto these squares, actually three. And I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo black ink for this because I'm going to color with Copic markers, and I know a lot of you really like the Memento for the Copics. You can use our Gina Designs ink, but you may have to heat set it first. So I'm going to stamp the little bird right into this square, like that. That is such a cute little stamp. Just love that little guy. And then I'm going to stamp this greeting toward the top, and this is the greeting that says, "May all your wishes come true." So this is a fun little birthday card. I'm going to stamp this toward the top, so excuse my head if it gets in the way. So there's that, and then I'm going to use some of the grass green ink, and grass green you'll find also in this piece of patterned paper, so that's a nice play on color there. And I chose the little star stamp to stamp onto this panel as well. I'm going to add a little star just to jazz up this panel a bit, and I will add that right about there. So there's the star. Now I'm going to do a window technique, and you've seen me do this technique before. I have a panel of our dark chocolate here, and I'm going to lay this out just to see what this looks like. I'm going to put the little bird there, my little greeting up there, and then add some patterned paper to the other spots. But first I'm going to color the little bird, and I want to start by making his hat red. So I'm using the R27, which is the cadmium red, and that's going to match nicely with the red in that patterned paper pack. And because Copic markers have that really nice fine tip point on the end of their sketch markers, you can use a sketch marker or an original marker for this. If you go a little bit outside the lines, you can clean that up using a colorless blender pen. Then I'm going to use the light suntan, which is E13, and add some suntan to my little bird. I'm going to color everything but the wing and the little feathers on the tail. This is such a fun little stamp. I really like these little stamps to make little cards like this. And then I have E35, which is chamois, and we'll just make the wing and those tail feathers a little bit darker. And that kind of that first color, the E13, the light suntan, really does look nice up against the patterned paper there. So it's a nice complementary color. Now we're going to add a little bit of bling to this panel, and I'm going to do that using my craft pick, and I'm going to poke a hole right into the center of that star. And then I'm going to add one of these little copper brads. I have copper brads and black brads and white brads from all our past kits. I have lots of them and I love them. They're so nice and buttery soft to open up in the back. So I'm going to just open that up there. And there is my little brad inside that star. So now I can start taping things down, and it's kind of a good idea to put the brad in first, although if you want to put it in after you've set this all up on the panel, that is just fine. So I'm going to lay that out, put a little piece of pattern paper here. I like to lay it out first to make sure that everything's going to fit. You don't want to get started and then realize that something doesn't fit right and you have to recut and tear, and that's no fun. So I have another panel right here to use, and that looks good. That looks like a nice layout. So now I can start adhering these, and I'm going to adhere one on the top in this corner first. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more sticky stuff to this one because it has the brad. So I'm going to adhere this one first at the top, and then I'm going to add the one here in this bottom corner. And I'm doing that because then I know I'm going to get even spacing. So do the two white panels first. There we go. And now you can do your pattern paper panels afterwards. Kind of see where it all lines up then that way. And one more. Let's see. Again, my head is in the way. Sorry about that. There we go. So now I have my 4 panels there, and this whole panel is going to go onto a white panel. So I have a little nice bit of a white border there. Add that on next. And then my final piece will be my dark chocolate card base, and that has a nice big dark chocolate frame around it, which is so nice. You can get 2 square cards out of one piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. These are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 squares, so that would be 4 1/4 by 8.5. So what I usually do is just cut a card the long way, and then I just chop off the rest to make it an even 4 1/4 square. And there is my finished card project. Try this quick and simple layout with pastel papers for sweet baby cards, or make a striking black and red card for your sweetheart this Valentine's Day.